everyone, and welcome to another edition of Vintage Racers Roundtable. My name is Paige Woods. I am the chairperson for the Maine Motorsports Hall of Fame, as well as the founder of Maine's Lost Speedways. The Maine Vintage Race Car Association and Lincoln County TV would like to welcome you to the next edition of the Roundtable. It's a program where they bring legendary figures in Maine motorsports and share some stories. They look in the rearview mirrors at these legendary careers. The Maine Vintage Race Car Association, again, would like to thank Larry Seidlinger and the folks here at Lincoln County TV for hosting them. We are here for episode number 26. Today, I am sitting in for Ken Minot because he's on the other side of the table today. First, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Pete Silva, who is in the Maine Motorsports Hall of Fame, as well as the NEAR Hall of Fame. We are here today with Ken Minot, who is the promoter and announcer at Wiscasset Speedway, and next to him is Vanessa Jordan, who is the owner of Wiscasset Speedway, and next to her is her husband, Richard Jordan, who is the owner of Wiscasset as well. And I'm really excited about this episode, Pete. What about you?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. As we talked earlier before we came in, we've started taking a left turn with this show in the last few months and gone into different aspects of racing. The people that I guess really never get a voice.
Right.
And it was time to have race promoters on here, and Richard and Vanessa are probably the perfect two. They were sent down from the racing heavens to save a racetrack that everybody was waiting to be saved, and the job they've done is beyond phenomenal. And everybody's heard me tell people for years, I've traveled around a lot. I was around, whether it was in New England or in the South, when original people owned the racetracks, and by the time I came back or went back, there were new owners. And you were probably one of two, or maybe still only one, that I've seen take all the money and put it back into the racetrack, and when people show up every spring, they can see where their money went. I've watched this for decades, and usually the first thing everybody does is complain about no crowd, no money. So they cut the payoff, then they're telling everybody they're broke and they're riding around in the new Escalade. You're just the opposite. I know you got access to different construction stuff, but still, you stop and you take the money and put it back in. It's just more than impressive. So I think when I say thank you, I represent the racing community.
Yeah, and kind of bouncing off of Pete, tell us a little bit of the beginnings of Jordan Lumber.
Yeah.
Jordan Lumber started, actually I was born in Booth Bay Harbor, and we lived in Edgecombe, and my dad ran a sawmill in Edgecombe, and it burned, and he heard of one up in Kingfield that was for sale, so went up to Kingfield to buy it, move it back to Edgecombe to get back going. Well, it was a running mill up there, and they convinced him to, they said, why don't you just come up here and run the mill, Everett? And so he did for a couple of years. Then I moved to Kingfield when I was 4. And that started Jordan Lumber. And it crept from there. He found that he could buy lumber cheap and he could make it. So he started selling it retail out on the street, and it
Well, that
evolved
saved
from there.
some money on labor and equipment, didn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Boy, that's a big move.
I remember seeing family pictures of Uncle Everett in, I think it was in a little shop at his house. Didn't it start there?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Actually, it started on Main Street, Kingfield, and then moved up to our house where I grew up on Maple Street, and ran there until 65.
Okay.
And then we had lumber sheds and all, and then he moved out onto Main Street in Kingfield in 65, and been there ever since.
Yeah.
Well,
So it started basically in the 60s up there?
Yes, yeah.
And it's lasted until you sold it how long ago?
A couple years ago, yeah.
So it's lasted over half a century.
yeah.
More than that, more than 3/4.
And sort of
Wow.
coincidentally, it got sold again yesterday.
No way.
It
Yes,
did.
yeah,
Yep.
sure. So,
Dad told me that.
So that's, yeah.
Hammond Lumber ended
Yep.
up buying it, right?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
bought
Ware Butler.
the Ware
Yeah.
Butler stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But you and your brothers
And just a little bit of a tidbit, like I remember at our store in Kingfield, on Maple Street, is we bought a lot of lumber from Hammond, and so when Don Hammond and his father and mother would come up with the truck later on in the day to deliver lumber, and Don and I'd be playing in the sandbox, and then we'd have supper together, and then they'd go back home. So it's quite a circle. It's all come.
So
yes, yeah.
then you and Jonathan went into the business after.
Yes, as we got old enough, like 10, 13, when you was old enough to do something, you went to work at the store.
Yep.
So I was the first, of course, and my brother Les, and then Jonathan, and then, I can't remember what year, but when my dad decided he was ready to retire, we purchased the store from him.
Nice.
and
I was just going to ask who actually owned the store. You just answered that.
Yeah, us three
as a
boys,
family.
yes, yeah.
And so then Les went off and did the excavation.
Well, we
part.
always had
Or-
a lot in the business. My
Yeah.
dad bought a backhoe,
Yeah. Okay.
much as I remember. But when my brother Les got out of high school, he took over the excavation part of the business, and
Yep.
so we didn't really split it apart, but we was in two different buildings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got ahead of ourselves here. We're talking about
I know.
track owners, and we
I
left
know.
poor old
I know.
Kennel
know.
there running down.
I'm enjoying the story.
So
Look, I got to
I
tell
feel
him
as
that.
awkward as you guys do.
So I wake up in the middle of the night last night, laughing my butt off, and I can't figure out why. When I went to bed, I was thinking about the show. I figured out what I was laughing about. Like she said earlier, this going on to our third year. This is the first Racers Roundtable you're actually going to get to talk.
Yeah. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands.
So talk a little bit about what you do, Ken,
At Wiscasset Speedway.
at Wiscasset
Oh,
Speedway.
a lot. Essentially, first and foremost, I'm the track lead announcer. Have been for a long time. But also kind of manage the race show. Vanessa oversees the pit side and the business operation, and Richard oversees the grounds and developing the place, and they've entrusted me in being responsible for putting on the show.
So what got you into the position of going way back, of what got a microphone in your hand, essentially?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you've got quite a
You have
you've got
quite a
hell of
resume.
Ascend here to wherever you went to college for architecture,
Yep.
but at the same time you got your radio broadcast license.
Yeah, there was in my dormitory at Vermont Tech, there was a college, your typical college radio station down in the
Right.
basement
That's
floor
right, I
of my
remember
dorm.
those.
And I've always been really big into music. So I would go downstairs and hang out with the guys running the radio show. And I gradually learned how to run the equipment, and finally jumped in and started my own show. And then it was just a simple application process back then to get your radio license. But when I came back here to Maine, I ended up DJing at a local roller rink, and then managed to have the right connections to get on radio. And
Yeah, that seems to be the lane you stayed in
Yeah.
once you went in that direction.
yeah.
And I was going to ask you if you were ever a race fan, but you were.
Yeah, growing up, we really didn't get a chance to go to local racetracks because I grew up on a dairy farm, a big dairy farm in Brunswick, and we spent Saturdays in a hayfield, not at a racetrack.
Yeah.
So, but one of my neighbors raced. We were neighbors with the Staples family, and on TV, I grew up watching, what there was for racing broadcasts back then, but I was a Cale Yarborough and Buddy Baker fan, and then eventually a Rusty Wallace fan. So I've always loved it, but just never had a chance to really get exposed to local racing until my late teens. We would go down to a show once in a while at Beach Ridge.
Yeah, I was a big Cale Yarborough fan too. The first place I ever went to with the Budweiser people, and we were racing, took us to Junior Johnson's to try to buy a motor, and there was like Wardell Wilson, Buddy Parrott, the two crew chiefs there that are so famous. But I'd never seen anything like that in my life, but I was a big Cale Yarborough fan.
Yeah.
But so you stayed in that lane, and then it says here that one of the TV radio stations you're working for was Wiscasset was a Speedway, must have been a client.
right here in Newcastle.
Okay.
There used to be, the tower is still there, but there used to be a radio station right here on Route 1 in Newcastle called Coastal Country. And I was the program director and one of the on-air people at the time. And Wiscasset Raceway was advertising with us.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, all that tie-in. That worked well for you moving forward. I
Yeah.
mean, it pretty put your life in front of you, didn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing...
But I got into racing completely different direction than most people.
Yeah.
Right.
But it says here St. Clair called you one time to fill in for Elson. That's how this...
Yeah.
So how does he know that that's something you want? How does he know that might be you?
He didn't, or at least to my recollection. He just like...
Did he hear your voice on the radio and like it or something?
Yeah, and he just said, hey, I need a fill-in announcer for, this was the last race of the 1992 season. And I just went into it blind and thinking I'm just filling in for this one show. So as I tell people, I can BS my way through it one time. And apparently I did it well enough. At the end of the day, Dave said, the job's yours next year if you want it. So I never realized it was an audition.
You're right. Yeah.
And as they say, the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
And it's just, to me, it's just weird and funny and kind of neat how just one chance phone call by a slight acquaintance can change your life. I mean, 33 years later, here I am still and meeting great people like these guys and you guys. And
But a lot of... My racing deal, we had this conversation the other day, the best things in my racing career happened by accident because of an accident. You know, I crashed the Bush X car in Canada and took it down there to fix it. By the time it was fixed, it was too late to get home, and I stayed there that one weekend. And as they say, the rest is. But you couldn't have planned that.
no,
You just couldn't have planned that, and had it been that successful.
kind of the advantage I think I had was with my radio, and
Oh,
I
big
was
time.
paid
Yeah.
to talk anyway. So with that kind of background, I wasn't afraid of a microphone. So the comfort level was there as far as just talking to the crowd. I had to learn the racing thing, and I'm still learning now. But I think that's kind of an advantage I had over some other.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. You already had the gift you needed. You just had to learn the principles
craft, learn
of
the craft.
what you were talking about.
Right.
All right, Vanessa, let's go way back to the beginning.
Well,
So we-
I'll just piggyback on Ken for a moment
Okay.
because he did so well that when we purchased the track and that first Save Wiscasset, or we're happy that Wiscasset is saved, whatever that race was called in the fall, and everybody kept saying, you've got to find Ken Minot. You have to find Ken Minot. He's the one that you want for your promoter and your announcer. And we thought, well, who is he? Where is he? Nobody knew, but everybody was, you
I
got
know
to
what he was
find
paying
him.
all those people to come talk to you, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we had the name, we just didn't know how to find him or wherewithal. And then lo and behold, that winter, we got a letter from him. And
You reached out.
He
Had you
did.
heard they were looking for you? Were you?
No,
No.
You
I
had an
had-
interest in the job at that point.
Well, I don't think we knew we didn't know. We didn't know if we was gonna. We didn't know what we was gonna do with the racetrack. We didn't
Had to
know why
start
we had a
somewhere, so
racetrack.
You got to start
And
putting it
that's
But
Yeah.
together.
did you
We gotta
write
get
to
into-
us, or did you send us an email?
Well, I
No,
did
he
the
wrote.
Save Wiscasset Raceway Day with Dale Chadbourne and left it at that. I was still, quote unquote, retired. And then when the Jordans bought the track, some people involved with it convinced me, hey, we need you to come help them. They ran one race in 2012, right?
yes,
It's a welcome race.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
You guys
And
called it a
that's
welcome
where
race.
we heard
A
about it.
one-off,
Okay,
yes.
That's
I'll
the
go
day.
in, and I hadn't even met them yet. I just went in and did the gig, and again was still retired, and off I went. And so after that day, that October 2012 race, their welcome race, I just sat down and wrote them an email and said, listen, best of luck. I've been there a long time. Here's just a few ideas that maybe you ought to consider. Just a little friendly advice, and kind of left it at that. And then a few months later, I get a phone call from Vanessa just out of the blue.
Yeah.
And
We had dinner.
yeah,
Said-
but-
Yeah, that's
it says,
what I remember.
Following, I have to jump in here.
yeah,
Following a nearly 3-hour lunch, was offered an announcer and promoting gig.
yeah.
That basically covers.
Then-
It's
Well-
a nice
well,
deal right there.
And that's
had
not
some-
exactly how it works in my way. Is
Was he there?
Ken
Were you
told
there?
us that
So you-
he could make this thing work and how to do it and all this. I don't know that before Ken came to us that we knew if we was even going to open the track up. You know,
didn't have a plan.
He told us
basically. You
that
didn't
he
have a
could
plan,
do
right?
that, and we took him up on it. You know.
Well, and that's kind of how it went. They approached me and said, "We've read your letter almost every day for the last couple months, and we want to sit down and talk." And we met up in Augusta, and during that conversation, Rich asked me a question, and I keep pointing this out when I can. He asked me a question that my previous owners had never asked. He leaned across the table and said, "What do you want to do?"
Yeah.
And I just said, "Well, I've been here long enough. I'd like to have a hand in maybe helping you run this place." And without hesitation, he said, "Sure, let's make that happen." And we
So-
talked and
He
talked.
had,
How
you
long
had
have you
some
had the track?
amazing ideas.
How long have you guys had the track now?
Since 2012.
Yeah.
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 So
13 years.
So
Yeah,
previously,
13 years.
you guys owned a racetrack before Wiscasset.
A little go-kart
Yeah.
track, or mini cup track.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep, up in Kingfield. So, what was the thought behind that? Tell us the story.
Well,
of
that was
when,
just a dream my brother Les had, you know, just to have some fun, you
Yep,
know. So
yep.
so we had a gravel pit, and
Yep.
and he got with one of his buddies and said, "Let's build a go-kart track."
Yep.
And we built a nice one, you know.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
We paved it, and we had quite a wrestle with the town, some of
Yeah.
the town's folks.
Yep.
You know, about the mainly noise and
Yeah.
and
What night did you race? How many nights a week did you race?
well, we ended up in the end just racing every other Saturday.
And they complained about that.
Well,
On a weekend.
They lived
yeah,
with that.
and
What's that?
They were happy with that.
and they were a handful of concerned residents, you know, but
They didn't like the
they
every
mattered.
weekend.
Yes,
They
yeah,
didn't like
yeah,
the what?
The every weekend.
Yeah.
So the noise ordinance lets you do that during the day. Did you do it at
Yes,
night or
you
at
know,
day?
like running the gravel pit is, we already had restrictions, you know, that for decibels and all, and we maintained. We bought a decibel meter and everything. We was always under what we could have done with a crusher sitting there, you know. But you still have to respect the townsfolk, you know.
Oh, yeah,
and,
listen, it happens
and-
everywhere.
and they came up with this idea that we would run every other week, and we had to be a club. That's what it
Right,
was.
and we had to form an
Yes,
association.
yeah.
Yep.
That worked well.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was thinking about Fantasy Speedway when the clocks, they were really rolling before. I wasn't around here then, but they were really rolling up there on Unity Plantation, and I think somebody got hurt.
Yeah.
And for them to continue, they had to make it a private
Yes. Yeah.
club, and you paid a membership once a year,
Yep.
and then you could go to every race. And they got rid of.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
That's what we
It's
Part of
really,
it all.
it really is. Even though we got driven there, it was.
Best thing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And
Yeah.
what I find interesting about Kingfield and racing up there is that, you know, it started out as a fun track and then interest gained, and it, you know, a lot of people showed up. We had good car counts.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I
you
heard
know,
the place was packed,
It,
and I was
it
1,000
is.
miles
and
away.
it was fun. And,
It was fun.
you know, there was an association. We're all like family up there, you know,
Yes,
more than
yeah.
competitors, but we were. But it was fun. It was a great
Why is
track.
it closed?
Well,
I mean, I know you got a lot on your plate.
yeah,
but
once
for
we
sure,
got
but-
the Wiscasset is because Vanessa and I were here, so we left it to the membership up there, and we had a Wanda Brown, what do we call her?
Yeah,
What,
she was kind of the
she managed it,
managing-
you know, and she had for a while, and she told them, you know, because it's a club. So she said after a while, says it's time somebody else to step up. I'm gonna and she raced as well.
But you own the track. You still own the property and the track, right?
Yes, and we
did
left
at
it
that
to them.
time, but we don't
They don't.
anymore.
It's all
Oh
ripped
yeah,
up
the
now.
track has
It's all ripped
it's
up.
been dug up.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
dug up, all
We
gone.
sold the property
Yeah.
and it's been dug up.
Yeah.
Was there a reason it was dug up, or they want the stuff under it or something? Or?
Well,
They wanted to expand their
yes,
business.
it's arc.
Welding and
Yeah,
steel.
welding.
Okay.
Yeah, has
And then I think it closed in 2016, at the end of the 2016 season. It was
I'm
around
not
there.
sure, Paige.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I know that it's sort of dwindled. Everything has hills and valleys, right? But kids grew up,
The problem
families
was
went
that
someplace
nobody
else.
everybody wanted to race, but nobody wanted to run it.
Right.
And it
Just like hiring
Failed.
help now, you can't do it, can you?
And
Yeah.
with
It's
this,
tough, yeah,
with
sure.
Wiscasset, we just did not have the time
Right.
Yep.
to put in it ourselves either. Wiscasset
but we
became
learned a
full-time
lot
job.
from it. You
Yeah,
know?
definitely.
Yeah.
I think these guys need to tell firsthand the story about how they got Wiscasset Speedway.
Well, we're going to go there.
Yeah, we
I
are.
just wanted to get a little. I just wanted to get a little of Vanessa's
Yeah,
history.
I got you.
Sure.
I have no history in racing.
Yeah, you might be on the witness program here. We can find anything out
So
about
you're
it.
from Skowhegan, Vanessa. So how did you get into racing? When did you meet Richard? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I don't have any racing background at all until I met Rich. And met Rich in 2000 or 2001, right in there.
Can I ask you where you met?
Met him at church.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's where I met
Actually.
you, right?
Outside of church, maybe.
Yeah. We were both divorcees,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
and we ended up in the same church up at Sugarloaf.
Yep.
No, it's your story. Go ahead.
Thank you. Had a lot in common. So we started dating, and then he was big into racing, and the go-kart track, of course, was going. So we went to the go-kart track, and it was a lot of fun.
His
Like,
go-kart track, not Richmond,
yes.
up in Kingfield,
in
right?
Yeah,
Kingfield.
yeah.
Yep. And so that's where I got my first introduction to racing, and then he took me to a couple of races. One of our dates was in Oxford. We went over and watched Kelly Moore race Oxford one evening, and then Rich decided he wanted to buy a race car.
Okay, so what did you think of the sport? If you got no history and all of a sudden you meet this guy and you're going to where he wants to go on a date, what did you think of the races?
It was very exciting.
Really?
I did like racing.
Yeah. Okay,
Immediately.
good.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, and enjoyed all the people, you know, and
Boy, there are a lot of people to meet.
yeah, a lot of fun. I'd never been in a pit before till went to Oxford, and that was pretty exciting stuff.
Now you're everywhere as there's a race.
Yes.
The
Now I get to
banquets,
work
I see
in
you
one.
here, see you there, yeah.
But
So, you want to interject,
no,
interrupt her
I'm
again?
Good. I'm good.
It was to fix my story.
So you're racing go-karts at this point,
Yes.
and you decide you want a late model? That's a
No,
pretty
I
big
met
bite of the
Vanessa,
apple.
and we had, I had always, if it had a piston in it, I loved it,
Yeah.
you know. So I'd always liked the racing thing, and it helped out some different people racing and all. And when I got with her, she said, well, and I'm creeping up on age too. I guess I was 50 at that point, wasn't I? Yeah.
Yep.
And she said, well, you know, if you're ever going to do this, you better do it now. So
Good
I
advice.
bought a race car, you know. Well, I didn't. That's a whole nother story, but we went to Wiscasset and
Burgess?
Was it Jeff Burgess
yes,
racing
yeah,
it?
but I'd talked to Norm Sherman, Norm's used car, tell him, I'd like to get a car. And he said, well, what's this one going out now? And it was Jeff Burgess
Yep.
going out.
Yep.
So I run down, saw Jeff, and I said, I understand this is for sale. And he said, yeah. So I said, I'll watch you. He went out and won that race, and I went and,
That's the car
Yeah.
we bought.
yeah.
I think that's the last late model that Butch Burgess built.
Yes,
actually.
and I'm so tickled. You know, like you say, things happen. They all, you know, the reason why you get there, but it wasn't part of the plan. But I got to that. I got to meet, or we got to meet Butch Burgess, and what a blessing that was. You know, And just quick, you know, he told me, we went and the car was in his garage, and he says, jump right in. So I did, and I'm down in there, and you know, you can't even see over the hood there. And I said, geez, Butch, I says, how do you know how close you are? Where you
Count the
going?
light poles and
Yeah.
turn left.
And he says, well, he says, if you see that hood buckle, he said, you let off her. And then he let me start it. And then I sold right there. Yeah,
You reach for your wallet right there.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Was that a Hamkey car?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have it.
Still
Yeah,
have it.
yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wrecked it, and for my
Yep.
70th birthday party, the
Scott.
crew and family all put that car back together, and it was sitting there at my birthday party.
How come you're not racing?
I haven't run it, but well, they haven't. I haven't seen it since my birthday party. I don't even know where it is.
Jesus, when's your next birthday?
Well, Scott says it's in his garage.
Yeah. They don't want me to wreck it again.
So I understand it a little bit because I mean, I never raced in another division but that division, but that's a big bite from a go-kart. And by now,
Yeah,
super
yeah.
late models are changing. I mean, we got
Oh, yeah.
cars are pretty different and a little more sophisticated. You just said that's what I'm going to do?
Yes. Yeah.
We went to Wiscasset,
Yeah.
and he ran it.
Did you
and-
did you rent a track and go practice or anything?
Yes. Yeah.
How
We
did that go?
some. I'd say great. We raced it for what, 2-3 years.
Did you race that long? I just obviously I'm not around now.
The first
so.
year we raced there.
We
'cause it
raced
was
until it closed.
The year that
Yeah.
Doug White bought it from
Right, from
Boss.
Boss, yeah.
Because halfway through that season, they did a big transfer
Yeah.
of ownership.
Yeah.
And then when we raced there, Doug White owned it
Yep.
for 2 or 3 years until it closed.
Yeah, that would have been 2007.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And who was your crew? I mean, who helped you out?
Anybody?
Vanessa and our son Sean.
Yep.
Sean. You
That
were there a
pretty-
couple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
John Anderson.
Yep.
helped
Yeah.
John
us.
Yes,
Anderson, that's
John.
right,
Yeah,
too.
sure.
Shane
yeah,
Lane
yeah.
came down
Yeah.
and helped
Yeah.
us.
Yep,
Yep.
you did.
So for the next tough question, how did you do?
Great.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm a little bit different.
What are we talking about now exactly?
Yeah, but I think if you get a chance to get out there and get on the track and race, you're a winner.
Yeah.
You know, there's only going to be one first, but and I really don't care where I finish. I like to finish.
You just
yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
do it.
And you know, Richard, something that always stuck out to me that you used to always tell me when I was racing is go out and have fun.
Oh,
And
most
it's true.
definitely, utmost. And I always tell guys that are driving with me or for me or whatever, I say, finish the race. You know, if there's any way that car can finish, I don't care if you're how many laps you're down or whatever, finish the race. You know, don't say, oh, it's not going well, so I'll pull off.
Well, you got to consider most of these. Another aspect of the point you just made is the sponsors on those cars. It
Certainly,
doesn't do
yeah,
them any
yeah,
good if they're sitting
yeah.
in the pits.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
You
yeah.
know, so you are right. Finish the race. That's good. Good
Well, and it
advice for a young
shows
driver.
something too.
Yeah.
It shows you know,
Resilience.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So back to you, Vanessa. You keep weaseling out of this. You raced also.
I dabbled a little bit when we had the go-kart track.
Well, still
Yes.
racing. I mean,
Mini
what
cup
what
cars.
brought that on? Just curiosity, what it would feel like to try it.
I'd never done it, and there was a few ladies who wanted
That was going to
to
be my next question.
wanted
rather
to
late.
try, so we all decided we would try, and
Did you have fun?
had a blast. It became very competitive.
I bet you did. I can see that in
A
your
lot of
eyes.
fun. Yeah, it was a lot
Now,
of
did
fun.
you ever race anything bigger other than a mini cup or?
Nope.
Yes, she did.
What
Don't
did
sell
I do?
yourself short. You've driven one of those
Oh.
modifieds.
Oh, damn.
I
forgot
didn't
about
race one, but I drove one.
That's cool.
I
you
did
practice
run
it?
an enduro.
Yes, you did.
How'd you
That's
do?
She
frightening.
did an enduro.
Yes.
it. Those were popular, boy. I remember when they started. Wow.
But in 2019, 2020, when Rich bought those modifieds and was going to start that senior modified
I
club,
wanted to get into
Oh, I
that a little
forgot
bit.
you
about
guys
that.
ran 2 or 3 exhibition races, and I remember you
Yes.
driving a couple of them.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yep.
How'd
We-
you
we
like that?
started
Was that
out-
in competition? A modified in competition?
It was a little
Wow.
bit. I mean, it was just an exhibition race, but
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
he didn't think
Up
I
the
was
insurance
fast
program
enough.
or what?
And the only other time, and I'm not sure if you would bring this up, is you actually rode with Scott Chubbuck in a two-seater
Oh,
late
yeah, I
model
forgot about
in
that,
a
too.
30-lap late model feature.
I did.
How was it being
Yes.
a passenger in that thing?
That was an amazing experience.
Yeah, he's a hell of a driver. That must have been
Yeah.
quite a moment for
It
you.
was. I think he was
Yeah.
nervous.
And as it is, we just dug that car out
It was
again, and we're
fun.
gonna get that program up and running. We
Mm-hmm.
get slowed down with COVID and all, well, stopped, I guess, but we are gonna get that going again.
Let's talk about it. What did you have an infatuation with modifieds or something? Or, I mean, what brought that? You go from a go-kart to buying a late model, buying a racetrack, then starting a modified
He
division.
bought 10 of them.
Yes, well,
Was it 10 from a club, like, or 10 individual people?
Individuals,
We traveled
yes.
around.
Old SK modifieds
Oh,
and
yeah.
sport
We
mods from
traveled
Monadnock.
around New Hampshire, Massachusetts.
Well, you must have been committed, obviously.
He
Yeah.
was.
Committed to your idea. I mean,
Well, and I still somewhat committed. I just wanted to start a division that started off with structure and rules and like gentleman racing. You know, like I don't think you can have a race if you're going out and pushing each other and doing all this. Say, Pete, let's go out and have a race. You and I, we'll go out. We'll just have a race and treat each other right and have some fun, and we get it done and smile.
you don't say that at the drivers' meetings, do you?
In this new division, I am. Yeah, sure.
But unfortunately, we went down and bought those cars, and then COVID
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
And they were in storage.
But I'm
in
curious,
storage.
what brought you to that? To make, I mean, it's out of the realm of everything else you're doing, other than the word racing.
Well,
Something
it
neat,
was
though.
sort of like we had all these other divisions. We didn't have a division. I mean, I couldn't
The cars
go
were
into
the
the
same.
strictly street division and say, well, we're going to change this and we're going to race this way. As I said, we got to start with a whole new
Okay,
thing,
yeah.
and then say, and I called it like we was going to have seniors, so that we could go out and show people how you could treat each other right and still have a blast. And this is what you need to do to race, to keep this sport alive for our great grandchildren and all that. To get into it is you can't go out and have tempers and wreck people and do all this and have this ever survive, But
Can't do the regular stuff.
that's not regular to me.
I know what you're saying,
I
but
don't
you know where
even
I'm
like
going
it.
with that.
Yeah. Oh, I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
are you bringing that? Are you going to get that going again? That program?
Yes. Yeah.
So how do you? What do you just have people
Well,
come up
but
and tell you they
we
want to
did-
drive one of your cars? or
We did
something?
away with it.
you
Well,
go.
The senior part of it didn't quite take off,
The
but
senior part.
the idea of seniors driving.
well, I said
Senior-
you're going to have to be 50 or
retired guys.
55
I
to get in.
remember that.
Yes,
What was
yeah,
wrong
yeah.
with that?
Yeah.
They wanted to come in and drive the cars, but didn't want to make the investment in the cars. So Rich was still footing the bill for it.
So what do they have to? Okay, that's a
So
good.
that was, but then at the same time, Tony Rickey came along and said, and I guess he's run these cars forever, but he said, gosh, there's a whole group out there that would love to try these.
Like a tour or
Younger
a group
people.
of people? Oh,
No,
young
start.
people. Okay,
And
all
he
right.
gave, I said, well, geez, Tony, if you can put this together and make it work, and we can just, and he's by all means, and he did it one over the winter, really, right? And right now we have 10 cars that are racing good, and I expect next year there'll be 20 of them, But
I think they're cool as hell. I mean,
Oh,
I
they
first,
are.
I
Those
drove
are
one.
cool.
We've had
Yeah.
weekly tour type modifieds running in the state of Maine since 1990
Wow.
when they got done at Beach Ridge.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Those cars. Obviously, I watched the coupes around here for years, but in the early '70s, at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, we'd get like 15 people and go to Martinsville for the dogwood race.
yeah.
And watch, the modifieds in the fall. They call what's it, Dogwood 500 or something? Of course, they're addicting watching modifieds.
Sure,
They're in a league of their own.
Yep.
Have you driven them?
Well, yes.
You
yeah,
like it?
Well, I have
in
my
the
own
last
now,
race.
and I'm racing
You
with
like it
them,
better
yes.
than a full body car?
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love the open wheels. And it's just such a thrill.
I'm
to
so
drive it,
pissed
yeah.
that I didn't do that.
Yeah, well, it's not too late.
Listen, how old are you?
71.
You're a kid. I'm 77.
Well, yeah, right. Big deal.
I'm
Yeah.
probably 103 in real time. You know?
Dog years, yeah.
Just a few years ago, Jimmy Burns.
Oh, I know, I'm gonna
last
get to
race
that.
ever
Yeah,
was in one
yeah.
of his cars.
And the
And he
thing
won.
that was, I mean, I've known Jimmy, knew Jimmy. And the thing that impressed me about that, he was sick then,
Yes.
because he was gone shortly after that. So he had to be sick when he was in that car, and that impressed the hell out of me, because we know how serious the illness was.
Yep.
So that was, yeah.
He had the biggest smile.
My God,
Yeah,
it hurt your face looking at him on the damn computer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was good.
that was. No matter if you're a fan or not, you got to be happy for a guy that's going through it. Now that the dust is settled and you know that he was sick,
Yeah.
it's got to be a big moment, emotional moment for anybody that cares about racing and people.
So it's not too late for Pete Silver.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of parents.
And another, neat thing about that is
I'll do it one night if you do it, Richard. How about that?
I'll do.
I
I'm
knew I
going to do
walked
it
into that
every.
one. I knew I was
race.
halfway through that, and I knew I made a mistake.
Sure. But as neat as it is, when Jimmy raced that car, every car we went out and found, I can't remember Gary's last name, our Sunoco dealer, driver,
Gary Byington.
yeah, runs one of those cars, say in Connecticut, and I got talking with him, and so he searched out all these cars that we bought, and we went, Vanessa and I, several trips to New Hampshire and Connecticut to pick them out. Got to meet the folks that had them and all, and everyone, like everyone's a story.
Oh God, yeah.
So
That's a great part about it, really.
so the car that Jimmy drove was one of Glenn Griswold's cars, and I bought two cars from him, and then Alan Moeller drove it here a month ago and got it into
Third.
podium finish,
Yep.
and Glenn Griswold down in Connecticut saw it on the
Internet.
On
internet.
YouTube, yeah.
Yep.
Saw his car he's coming up Friday and going to race that car against
cool
this
is
coming
that?
This
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He said maybe I'll even, maybe I'll buy that back and I'll come up and join you guys. So
So-
that's neat. Yeah.
So what is the criteria? You bought all these cars. You
Yeah.
just said couldn't get people to drive because they didn't want to spend money. Do they have to
Well,
buy?
and
Do they
that's-
have to
that's
buy the
being a
car
little-
for you or pay for the ride? So to
It's
speak?
all me. I mean, it's like I had a desire, but I didn't know how to put it together. So that's what Tony's doing now.
Yeah,
He's
people
making
are
this.
buying them,
Yeah.
but Rich has got an avenue for people to get into it,
Yeah.
or at least test.
And
one
I
out.
said, yeah, sure. Like you want to come race with me? I got 8 of them sitting in the barn. We'll go play.
That's the kind of
yeah,
deal I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah.
for.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Try one
somebody
of those.
else's deal.
Buy one of those,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
they'll
sure.
find one someplace
If my
else.
shoulders
and
weren't
buy
bad, I'd do it. I drove before I came back from Florida, some of these people heard this story. I drove an open wheel car for Jamie Franklin Quick Change
Yeah.
on the dirt at East Bay. It didn't take but 5 laps, and I hated the world. I'm sitting
Oh.
there saying, how cool is it? I mean, he's 250, and we didn't have time to change the seat, so I'm like a BB rolling around in the seat. But it's like obviously they're dangerous because the wheels out there, but you
Yeah.
can see everything.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's all right there. Back to your point, I'm challenged
Yeah.
height-wise too.
Yeah.
So when you sit in one of those super late models, especially when Jeff Bodine started the deal where they laid the
Yeah.
seat back over the left rear wheel for weight. Christ, once you do that, you can't even see the dash bar.
No.
So you get in that modified, and it's all right
Yeah.
there. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I might do that
Yeah. Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. Oh yes, I'd love to. Yeah.
So you also own Pro Stocks
Yes.
before,
Yeah.
and you had Mike Orr
Yes.
race
Yeah.
one for a while. So what got
Yes.
you into buying the Pro Stocks? Just to add more cars into the field, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do like the cars, and so yeah, we had this I don't know how we ended up with that Pro Stock. Did
Ed
we build
Trask,
it?
right? Because it was Ed Trask,
Oh, yeah.
or one of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
So yes, and Mike drove it. We had an awesome time.
Yeah, that was fun.
Won a championship, I
Yep,
think.
2014.
Yep.
Yep.
Jason Oakes.
I meet a kid every now and then at the coffee shop, that racer, a nice kid. I can always tell when he's there because I don't have to pay for my coffee. He's back in line. Kevin Douglas,
Oh yes, yep.
nice guy.
Yeah.
Seemed like a nice kid.
Well,
He was our
when
last one.
What's that?
when
He
Mike
raced
Orr
our
got
last one.
when Mike Orr got done, some reason I even though Kevin had done some racing there, I didn't recognize him. But Vanessa says, I want this young fella to race a car for us. So we put him right in the car that Mike was driving,
Yep.
and then eventually built a new car for him. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, he did an awesome job.
Yeah.
Did do an awesome job. Yep.
Yeah.
And Jason Oakes ran our Super Street. We bought a Super Street, and he ran that for us too.
Yes,
And
yeah.
then he ended
Yeah.
up buying it from us.
Yes. Well, and Tasha Dyer had driven it before then, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
did. Yeah.
yeah.
I forgot.
The
that.
Oaks have supported Wiscasset Speedway from the beginning, haven't they?
Yes.
Yes.
The Oak
Yes.
family.
Yo,
Them and
100%.
obviously I'm good friends with the Rainey family. Spent a lot of
Yes, yeah,
time around them.
yeah.
Oaks was around them a lot.
yeah,
And they were
yeah,
good
yeah,
friends.
Yeah, very good friends.
Yeah.
They were
Neil
in the
and
same
Larry.
place in Florida down there in Port Orange in the same.
Is that
town.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, great people.
Yeah. Now, talk a little bit about when you guys bought the track in 2012. What made you
I thought that was a great story.
make that jump? You know?
Well, it started off is that you know my
Might be a couple of different versions here.
our you know I am all about family and I grew up in this area. I was at you know because of your grandmother and my mother and all. I was at the first Wiscasset Speedway race in '69. Went all the time, you know, even though it was 100 miles for us, this is my down home, so we went racing. And then, and I love Wiscasset Speedway, and then it was coming up on the auction block, and there was so much bad talk about it, you know, like DEP had this big thing on it that, you know,
Like a lien on it or something?
well, it was part of the auction was you were liable up to, or they had deemed that maybe it might cost up to $200,000 to get the lot cleaned up, that there was buried oil drums and trash. And
Was there any
stuff.
proof of that?
No, but that was part of the auction deal.
Didn't make
you
any
know?
difference. It was part of the contract.
Yes. And then there was other people that were going to buy it and put in a mobile home park, which, you know, is all right, but I love the racetrack. And my story is, and I really did feel this way, is it was just like my daughter was up on the auction block and these guys are talking bad about her, and I said, I'm at least going to go protect her, you know, I'm going to be there. And I know the Keenan boys, you know, I grew up with them, my sister babysit them, you know, but anyway, we went to that auction and there were just, I think there might have been 5 people that you had to pay some money down
Yeah.
to say you was
Buy-in,
a buyer, you know. And there might have been 30 other people there, but they started the auction off and there wasn't a soul that would bid on it. So Steve Keenan, knowing me, he says, I bet it was 5 minutes that nobody would say anything. So he said, Rich, he said, give us a bid on this thing. I said, gee, Steve, I told him the story. I just came to protect it. I didn't come here to buy a racetrack,
How did you
know.
convince Vanessa to go with you?
He lied.
What was it?
He lied.
He was
To
gonna
get her there, yeah.
So let's go out for, yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna go for a ride,
Yeah.
go for an ice cream, and have a nice day out. And oh, by the way, we'll just stop by and see how things
lobster
are
cone.
going at Wiscasset.
Yeah.
And it's auction day at Wiscasset. Go
So,
figure.
so
Would you tell her, let's see what's going on here?
yeah,
Yes,
right.
yes.
And you know, and it's a long story, but anyways, I opened the bid up and lo and behold, another bidder was
Clark?
Johnny Clark's
Dad.
Father.
grandfather.
No, father.
That's his father.
No, it wasn't.
Well, you're
John
talking
Clark
about
is
Johnny.
his dad, right?
Huh?
John Clark is his dad.
Well, there's
I'm
Johnny
talking-
Clark the racer, then John Clark is his father.
Yeah, and then his father was at the auction
Oh,
because
that's why you're saying
because John
grandfather.
Clark and Johnny Clark were on the way to a race.
Okay, that
someplace,
makes
yeah.
sense like that.
Yeah.
It would have made sense, Clark's father, because he was always in the middle of that stuff. So,
Yes.
Okay.
So Johnny's grandfather was at the auction, and I said, "This is good. You know, I can bake these guys. We'll get this thing sold up there. It's going to be a racetrack again. You know." So we start bidding along, and you know, we get up a ways there, and every time he'd bid, I'd bid, and he'd bid, I'd bid, and then he stopped bidding, and I said, "Well, shoot." So Keenan, Steve, he recessed the auction and says, "Okay, you guys can make calls, do whatever you want. We'll start up in 5 minutes." And Johnny's grandfather had been on the phone with him as he was bidding. You know, they're driving along to North Carolina, I think it was, and doing, you know, talking about it, and also they did that. And anyways, he started the auction back up, and by gosh, they never put in another bid.
Was
And
yours
after
the
about-
last bid?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
And then he said, "Sold." I remember my aunt Edna, and I about busted.
My grandmother.
Whatever happened? You know, and it's like, we just bought a racetrack, you know.
Yep.
And I went home. My dad, who was we was living with him, I guess. But I said, "Well, guess what, Dad?" He said, "You bought a racetrack, didn't you?" Yeah, we did. Yeah. So anyway, that's how that all went down.
Vanessa, you should be smiling harder at this story. What's your version?
I was gonna ask that.
When we got there, you know, and he said, well, I understood nobody was bidding, so they did call on Rich by name, and so he threw out a number, and I thought it was quite high. I was like, whoa, and then he says, "Don't worry, I got this." And he said, "I'm just going to bid
Meaning
him
I
up."
bought it?
No, and really, we did.
No, I'm just going to bid him up. I'm going to make him.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that's a
just going to
nice
make
line.
them pay.
We'll protect my daughter. You know?
And then when
Yeah.
they took a break for the phone call, he says, "Well, I'm all done bidding, so they'll come back with one more and we'll be all done." They did not come back with one more.
I hate to ask
They
you this
were all done.
on live, but do you think he knew that already?
Lord, no, I did not know that. I did not know that.
Okay, we'll let you
Yeah.
slide.
It was so shocking.
And it was.
It turned out it was a blessing.
It was a bargain. Other than, you know, you was liable for another 200,000 or
Yes.
so.
Yes.
For
Is that
cleanup,
it?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you liable for it, or is that maybe you're liable for it?
No.
Maybe. No, it has
You
to
gotta
be
figure
there.
out
Had
if it's
to
there
go
first.
through.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So the town came in. They were right there.
Right after.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
after
Town
the hammer went
manager,
down.
the
Yeah.
town assessor.
No.
And they were there to help. They knew what
Yeah,
the Speedway
yeah.
was under. They
Yeah.
knew it had a big tax bill to pay. They knew.
Yeah, that was another
They
thing.
knew a
Reading
lot of
about that.
things.
They had hundreds
me.
of thousands of dollars of back taxes due on
Did
it.
they forgive some of that?
They
said
I shouldn't even be asking.
no.
maybe.
They
I
said
don't know.
you pay it,
And
and
we'll
then
help you.
we will.
We'll help you reassess.
yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
From the
they-
day the hammer went down, the town, from where we was from and all, I couldn't say enough good about Wiscasset. They've helped us all the way.
That's where I was going to
Yeah.
go next. I was going to say compare the neighborhoods, so to speak, what you went through up there.
Yes. Yeah.
Compared, I think these people down in your area and where you're talking were hungry for that place to come back, weren't they?
Some.
They were at least.
weren't.
Was it a majority?
Yeah, they were at least fair.
had
You know, and that's
to-
all
Well,
I
that's-
asked.
yeah,
is-
that's-
is just,
we had
just
to earn our reputation
yeah.
back. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. The
Yeah. Oh,
Speedway
yeah.
was
Yeah.
had a reputation, which wasn't at that point.
Inconsistent at best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and it had been sullied
Yeah.
and hurt a lot of people. So one of our goals was to earn the reputation back, and we changed it back to Wiscasset Speedway from Wiscasset Raceway. You couldn't gain any traction with the name, so we switched it back to the original.
I like the original.
Yeah, me
Me
too.
too.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Cool
great
anyway, but I like
historian-wise.
that.
I like that.
And then was able to, people were willing to work with us. We had to prove ourselves.
Yep.
Ken attended some town meetings with me. He knew it wasn't easy to get our permits every year, and
Right.
but everyone was fair and gave us a shot, and we lived up to the word.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going there.
Yeah.
I mean, you've made them happy about their decisions,
Yes.
I think.
Well,
Without
and
a
we
doubt.
developed a little concept, I think, that's kind of contributed to the success. We came up with the slogan of sustained, disciplined growth. Rather than throw curtains up on a
Yeah.
demolished building, let's work on
Good
the
point.
foundation, build
Yeah.
it up
Good point.
carefully and slowly.
Yep.
And then Vanessa also added in the concept of the three-legged stool. The only way this thing is going to stay functioning and build on itself is three legs: the staff and management, the drivers, and the fans. And if these three parts can't all work together to build it up, it's not going to stand. So
And it has.
yeah,
The first year I was home, I've been home, I'm going on 11 years, so it was your 40-something birthday, and you
45th,
invited
yeah.
me. And I went down, it's the first time I've been to the races. The place was packed.
Yeah.
And I was sitting over off the fourth con with a bunch of old racers, and we're waiting for the festivities. The place was packed, and everybody's walking around drinking sodas, eating food. Pretty mind-boggling, you know. I hadn't been there for years, and it was a whole different visual. So I know a lot of people were there because you had all the old drivers were there or whatever. But when I went home, put the computer on, this lady got on there and said, "We hadn't been to the races in 15 years. We went to Wiscasset, my husband and my three kids. We paid our way in. Our kids never stopped eating and drinking soda, and we spent less than $50. We'll be back."
Yeah. Yeah.
You couldn't buy better advertisement than that, I don't think, a validation of what you do to the customer or for
And
the
what's
customer.
really great is that you keep it $5
Yes. Yeah.
since the beginning. I mean, in a lot of tracks around you, they're raising their prices, and you
Yes.
stick to it.
You're 5 and 20 no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
Usually that 5, if that was on another track, that would go from 5 would be 20,
Right.
and the 20 would be 40 or 50.
For a bigger
Yeah,
race.
one of the
Yeah, for a
race.
bigger
Yeah.
race.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's exactly
Well,
right.
Exactly.
It's always
But-
the excuse.
We needed to get the families
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
and keep
Yeah.
them.
I've said this 100 times on the show, speaking of that, going back to Tony Stewart, the old guy, he bought Eldora from me. The
Yeah.
guy on TV said, "Did he ever give you any good advice?" He said, "He told me I couldn't sell a hot dog to an empty seat."
that's right.
And isn't that so?
That
Yeah,
$5 gets him into that
yeah,
hot dog
yeah,
seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 The guy at Citrus tried it in Florida, and everybody laughed at him. You were all over the news doing it.
Yeah.
And everybody down there said he was crazy. They leased, you've probably read about it, they leased the
Yeah.
track for 10 years, paved it, bought the bleachers from Daytona, the extra ones. Opening night, $5 to get in.
I was
Had 165 cars in the pits, and they stopped letting people, stopped
Yeah, yeah.
admitting people at 6:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always like
Same-
that saying that the first time you do it, they laugh at you. 5 years later, they ask how you did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
That and our
Yeah.
bi-weekly race schedule
Yeah, that's
was
another concept.
What
that
is it?
was,
the bi-weekly race
Yeah.
schedule that we have.
You know, racers were running 25, 26, 27 weeks a season, and we had too many divisions, and the days of a 6-hour race show are long gone.
They need to be.
So we had to
Yeah.
come up with a different idea, and between the three of us talked it over, and let's try to split them up, and then add in a flex class with it. And
That
And
makes
that
a
came
lot
from
of
the go-kart.
we got
Yeah,
a lot
exactly.
of, we got a lot
Yep.
of pushback when we first did that, but now we couldn't dream of taking it
There's,
away.
some of those teams are surviving because of your
Because
schedule.
of that.
Yeah.
It just, back to the 25 times, that wasn't bad when tires were $400. It was $10 to get in and
Yeah.
$4 for a gallon of gas. Now,
Yeah.
Jesus, I talked with Sinclair at the last Garden State deal a year ago. He bought the first 2 sets for Josh. It was over $1,800. That's 2,000 now.
Yeah.
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 2 sets of tires.
I know.
And it
Christ, I could have
helps.
raced. We could have raced a year,
Yeah.
a whole year in the 70s on that.
Yeah.
And you know what? It actually helps, kind of an indirect way. It helps sustain your car counts, because the lower budget teams now they have 2 weeks to repair
Yeah.
a car
Oh, yeah.
instead of
Exactly.
getting it done in 1 week and having your car counts fluctuate so much. Now most people can get it fixed in 2 weeks without a problem.
And do it cheaper because you got time to make deals when you got a week.
Yeah, and we also joke it's hard to hold a grudge for 2 weeks too. So tends
Well-
to make for a little cleaner
Yeah.
racing.
And in favor of the guys that do have to charge more and all, and like for what we do charge it's more important to me. Family's what got me into this whole thing, anyways. And I've met family at the track that I never have met anyplace else. Parts of my family that I haven't seen since. But so my main objective is getting the families there, and for it to be affordable for the family. So you can bring you and your 3 kids and afford to come every week.
You've done
Now,
that.
because of that, we can't afford some tours that cost us
Right.
$30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to come because we're not going to do that to our fans. They can go to other places if they need to watch that. And yes, it hurts to say, well, no, we're not going to have those guys here, but it's our. Somebody says, "Oh no, I'm going to do that," but no, we have to come back to reality and say, "No, I got to look out for my family first." So we do.
But you have 3 big races.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it offsets it. And those 3 big races, it's always going to come back to money, right? You pay enough money that you get some of those people anyway.
Yes. Oh yes.
So
Yep,
you
yep,
get
yep.
some of them.
Yep.
I mean, that's the part of a racer being a racer. Wiscasset might not be where I go, but they're paying $15,000. If you're a racer, you go to that race.
Yep.
You're supposed to.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
I think you are.
So there's 2 sides to everything, for sure.
We'll go past the
Yeah.
last deal here, but where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years?
Oh, you want to start?
Well, you're talking family stuff here, and I mean, there's a lot going on.
They did come into it with a 5-year plan, and that was 13 years ago. So.
You can't rush into that stuff. But you think you'll be in the pit? You think you'll be walking around in the bleachers still, or will you be there and somebody else running it?
Oh, hopefully I'll be there and somebody else will be running it.
Yeah.
It has to, we're learning as we go here, and I need to. I want to find out how it can keep on going the way it is, and it keeps on coming back to some sort of a club, or the railway museum. Just I don't know how they do it, but they have.
What are you trying to put it in something where it can't be touched going down the road? Is that what you're hoping for?
Not quite
Well,
sure.
more that we have, a group that are running it that have these sort of same
Common
ideas
interests,
and.
goals. And
Common interest and common
And-
goals.
and-
We've
and
explored
that-
different things.
Somebody doesn't have to come in and say, "Oh, geez, I got to make all kinds of money out of it," and to heck with those old deals
Yeah.
and go with that.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
It was like Beach Ridge. If any racer had ever thought about buying that, the first round was $5 million. It's still not doable.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Other than at the end sell the property, but you're not going to
right.
pay for it.
Right.
yeah. So, when Vanessa and I got married, I remember telling my brothers that of course we met in church, and she was looking at going to be a missionary. Before we got married, she wanted to be a missionary and go some country to.
I was headed to
So,
South
so
America.
I told my brothers, I says,
I got as far south as Wiscasset.
so I told my brothers, I said, well, I'll probably. I'm working at Jordan Lumber and all, and I said, I'm probably going to have to take off a couple of years because we're going to go be missionaries. And that same year that we got married, we bought this
Right,
racetrack.
right.
So this is our mission.
This is the
And I
church
really
of
think
Wisconsin.
that our mission will come on
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that it will, we've been led all this way, and I'm sure
Absolutely.
that
God
the
will
next
fill you
step will
now.
be happen.
Yeah.
Well, the way you're going, the way your attitude, you'll do a lot for it. And before I forget, and this is for you and Ken, this show we're at right here we're at this table because of you. So it's the truth, I mean, I was fortunate enough, Andy Austin, and I'll make this quick. Andy Austin let me do a couple of open trailer podcasts with him.
Oh, yeah.
And we came up on our end of town, so to speak, and some of our drivers did like 5 or 6 shows, and I got to thinking, Jesus, you know, we got you got Stan and Dana and Ralph and Fuzzy and Loma. Because I'm the kid at 77 in that group, and I said, Andy, I'd like to do a roundtable with all these people, so if we lose them, we'll have something. And then he got done, and Ken took over, and I mentioned it to Ken in Augusta. And I'll remember this. I can see you walking up that aisle right now towards me. You look kind of serious, so I didn't know if I did something wrong, but I guess Ken must have mentioned what I said to him. And your words to me was, I love it. Let me make it a reality for you. And I think I blinked twice, and we had a date down here at Lincoln County DV. So thank you, and thank you for supporting it.
Pleasure.
And Maine Vintage Race Car Association.
Pleasure.
It's been great. This show has definitely blown up bigger than I anticipated, and it's been great.
Let me get one more thing here with Ken.
Uh-oh.
I didn't realize you were such a name dropper. Listen, he winds down, he said, Maine or near Hall of Fame drivers I've called races for. This will take a second, but when I say name dropper, Stan Meserve, Ralph Nason, Pete Silver, Dave Davo, Al Hammond, Dick McCabe, Larry Pottle, Dave Dion, Bobby Turner, John Leesott, Bob Halley, Bush Burgess, Mike Rowe, Jimmy Burns, Steve Nelson, Mike Johnson, Kenny Wright, Norris Willett, Bob Randall, Bob Beldo, Mike Maeda, Doug Ripley, Dave St. Clair, Dale Chadbon, Bill Griffith, Bill Harnish, Kelly Moore, John Phippen, Bobby Babb, Glenn Cusack, Chuck LaChan, Sandy Santier, Joe Bessie, Tim Brackett, Jim McAllen, and Brad Layton. God, you're a sucker.
Always drop a name when you can. You notice I had Pete Silva up at the top row?
No, I'm pissed you moved me to third. I thought we were buddies.
But hey, I'll drop 3 more names.
Yeah, okay.
I've been fortunate enough to be announcing now for 33 years. When I first got into this,
Unbelievable.
these were the track announcers that were calling races when I got into it. Bobby Walker was at Oxford.
Yeah.
Bruce Elder was at Beech Ridge. Bob Dow was at Unity.
Yes.
And I was the kid. And now I've had those guys to learn from. And,
Nice group to come in on
yeah,
the coattails,
oh my God.
buddy.
Yeah,
Nice group.
exactly. And now I guess I'm the old guy.
Well, it's up to you to bring up the next set.
That's right.
Well, that hour went by fast, huh, Pete?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So, just want to take the time. Thank you for coming. We want to thank Haven Simmons and the crew here at Lincoln County TV for hosting us once again. I want to thank my co-host Pete Silva as well. If you want to find past episodes of the Vintage Racers Roundtable, you can check it out on the mainvintagerace.org, and there you can find their mission statement in preserving racing history and presenting it as well. Thank you for tuning in.